extremely well. This Monday afternoon, Monday the 12th, I shouldn't really know from this morning because the day doesn't change, right? So look, first thing to say is get into this amazing community. You guys are all legends of this community. I told you I would be back if there's anything that broke. And obviously, as I promised, I always do the things that I pretty much say. So yeah. So first thing to say is get into this community, get in with your comments, get in with your bits and pieces as well. I'll just stick on my specs. Yeah, look, this is the best community on this platform. Scotty says yes, JB, Scotty, legend of the chat as well. So get in your opinions. Caught me on the hop. Look again, I'm embarrassed to have to report this today because I thought that we were a bigger club than this. Brown Knight, we've literally just started, my friend. It's embarrassing. This is not something I wanted to report on, but look, I think it's important for the community because many of you are interested in this stuff. So first thing to say is, as I always say, get involved in this amazing community. Be respectful at all times. Be respectful to me. Be respectful to the community. Be respectful to yourselves. Otherwise, the ban hammer comes out, and you guys will get banned. We don't like to do it, but we absolutely will. So, second thing to say is, look, I'm not a dictator of this chat, even though today this is just going to be a quick update. I do read out as many questions and comments as I possibly can. I love using the ban hammer. Scott loves to use his hammer, as is been told many times. So look, it's been pretty much confirmed. It is coming out now across the industry today. I did have a little message this afternoon basically saying, look, what you're going to get out of the club and what you're going to get out of the media today is that Solskjaer was never in the running. Solskjaer was never the guy. Solskjaer was never in with a shout. Load of bollocks. Solskjaer was always in with a shout. Solskjaer was always the default choice, effectively. So what's happened is basically there's a couple of things that have happened. Number one is that they've twigged on to the fact that they've exactly his ban hammer is very, very famous. What has happened is that there's been leaks from the Solskjaer camp that he's basically going to get the job. I think I saw some of you this morning. I think it was Scott who basically said along the lines of basically Solskjaer's camp was putting it out there that he's got the job, and he was talking about the things that he planned to do. Obviously, that didn't go down too well at all. Then basically, how was it going to be perceived, right? Like how was it going to be perceived? They paid this guy £10 million, and as Nick Carucci says, legend of the chat, Carrick and Ollie are as bad as each other, and it's true. It's like, do you want to step in dog shit or step in cat shit? Which one is the better of the two? So again, I've been talking to my person, and the thing that we're going to get that we really need to be careful of now is this. It was never going to be Ollie. It was going to be Ollie. It was going to be Ollie until they basically decided yesterday that it was going to be Carrick. So look, Carrick is going to be the new interim manager. We can go through some of those stats as well. But yeah, it's going to be Carrick. It is absolutely going to be Michael Carrick. I'll give you some of my quick initial thoughts on that as well, but let's get on to some of Carrick's stats, which I normally have it prepared, but I don't have it at the moment. So look, Carrick is basically he's known for being calm. In his managerial stats so far, so when we're looking at his career, he's a Middlesbrough man. Let's just do something here. No, a championship guy. 136 games he managed. Wins 63, 24 draws 49 times he got beat. 46th win percentage. Basically qualified for the playoffs. Finished 8th and 10th. Look, the record isn't amazing. But look, Carrick is good. It doesn't matter what we think in terms of this, right? It doesn't really matter. Carrick is 44 years old, so he's a young guy. Look, Carrick's demeanour, and let's talk about Carrick for a second, because I think it's important to sort of talk about him as a person, right? Carrick was always very, very intelligent, very, very calm. You can't translate a player over to a coach, as we all know. Otherwise, every great player would be a fantastic coach, which they're not. So, I've seen some stuff around today, so that Carrick was a fantastic player. He knows the club. Carrick doesn't know this version of the club. And what was really interesting, if you listen to Carrick, so if you listen to Fletcher last night, Fletcher basically called his players out. Basically saying that you're playing for your futures. If you don't know by now what this club is, then basically you need to leave. That's Fletcher. That's Fletcher, by the way. That's Fletcher coming out and talking about these players last night. So the appointment of Carrick. Look, Carrick was a caretaker. So this is how embarrassing it is right now. We have spent a week and a bit making a big hoo-ha and a fuss over a caretaker manager, right? When there are managers to get out there. But what we do, and again, people will say, oh, we're taking our time, right? They'll say that we're taking our time, and, do you trust giving them however many months to go out and decide on a coach? Do you think that they should have had a plan in place? And this goes to prove, by the way, love from India. Hello. I don't know what that means, mate. I don't know. Do you trust these guys to get it right? And I shall tell you for why. I know the reason why. Dave the Red says hi. Hello, Dave the Red. The reason how you know that this is rushed, and you know the reason why, is because Amrin wasn't supposed to get the sack. Rangan says hi from West Brom. Hi Martin, legend, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well. You know that this is rushed because Amrin wasn't supposed to get sacked. The plan was for Amrin to stay the whole season. This is why they kept saying that Amrin was going to get time, because they were going to let him go to the rest of the season, and they haven't. They've sacked him. The only reason that they've sacked him, by the way, is because he spoke out. Nothing to do with formation. Nothing to do with anything else. There are three things at play here. Number one, and I'm going to continue to say this, right? Wilcox describing himself as a frustrated manager, right? That. Second of all, him describe, the fact that he's saying to Amarin there is no money for players, and I've been saying this on here. For months, because I've already been told this. This is what when other channels keep banging on about, we're gonna get Baleba, are we gonna get an Anderson? I've keep banging on about this, and you guys keep banging on about this as well. There's no money for transfers, so he was getting annoyed because he basically knew that he was going to get no money. And then Amran exploded. And the only reason why Amran is not here now is because guess what? He doesn't play the party line. He doesn't sing, he doesn't dance, he doesn't play the party line. Jose Ranić, Amarin, you don't toe the party line and you go. So for those of you, and look, I'm not digging you out here, I'm not having a pop. But for those of you who want to know what type of man Carrick is, and I'm not going to blame him here, by the way, Ranić got sacked for talking. Amarin got sacked for talking. Carrick is a yes man. Like, let's be having this straight and now. I hope Carrick does well. I will support him again. But he's a caretaker for the caretaker. I mean, fucking hell! What sort of club have we become now? You've got a caretaker for a caretaker. Like, what sort of club have we become? There is just no respect left. We've been drained of any credibility. Like, Carrick coming back as a caretaker to the caretaker. Do we know how embarrassing this is? Like, you know, I've put this out there today. Like, I've done a here we go, because I know many of you guys in the community are interested in it, right? But this isn't that kind of stuff. I'm gonna go, oh, I'm so excited. I'm fucking embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed at this. Not as fans. I'm so embarrassed by what this club has become. We've now become a club whereby we're pushing an interim. We've got a caretaker for the caretaker. I mean, how embarrassing is that? You know, you've got Fletcher, right? So I don't know if any of you saw the interview, right, after the Brighton game, right? Fletcher was calling his players out. I'm gonna put it on the channel as well, right? Fletcher was calling out these players, basically saying, if you don't want to be a player at this club, or you don't know what it means to be a player, then basically go. And I mean, this is you've got ex-players who, like Carrick absolutely knows what this club is, right? There is no question here, right? But we've hired as an interim coach a championship guy. I mean, as Scott says there, it is hand-me-down FC. You know, look, I hope Carrick does well. I do, but I really don't care. You know, it's a here we go. Well done, Carrick has got the job. And you know, the fact I listened to someone on Talk Sport this morning, or talk shit, right? And there was some United fan who was saying that he's a season ticket holder and he goes to games, and he's basically saying how Ineos are doing a good job. Ineos should be given time. You know, it was clearly the manager. You've got to give Ineos a chance. And I'm like, it's just absolutely just unbelievable. My sport says gonna get behind Carrick, but sacking Ruben in January was the worst time. We've clearly had nothing in place. So after that, about giving him time, they jumped the gun. And look, my sports welcome, my friend. Look, I will get behind Carrick, right? Because he's doing a job, right? This is not about him, right? All I'm going to say, I'll give you my opinion during the AFCON, right? And look, I respect your opinion, and that's cool. We struggled. The AFCON is not an excuse. If we'd have been playing some amazing stuff, right, and then suddenly during the AFCON we were terrible, right? What about Grimsby, Everton, Spurs, Forest, West Ham? You know, we've had these results all season. These players were here. Like the AFCON players were here. We played one game a week and we've been crap all season. I almost think people have a reset mind. Like, and again, I'm not having a pop at you here, right? But it's almost like you'd think before the AFCON we were playing prime United, right? We weren't. Like we were awful. We've been awful all season. And yes, you know, I think the competitiveness this season has masked how bad we've been. If you go through the games and you go through the season, the draws, the wins, we've probably been good in maybe 2 games. So look, whilst I respect the opinion, I've got no problem with that opinion, and that's your view. I disagree with you. The AFCON for me is not an excuse. We've had one game a week. We lost to Grimsby, Everton at home. We've been awful all season. But look, I do respect the opinion. Let's have a look what we're saying. Good afternoon, JB. Ryan is a legend of the chat. Hope you do extremely well, buddy. Rubin spoke the truth and he got sacked. Exactly. The board just don't have a clue to manage a club of this size. Rather than managing the club to generate profit, they're simply bleeding the club dry. They looked weak in front of Amrin when they listened to fans and pundits. So as it happened, Carrick, I heard no breaking news. Yes, JB, love your show, buddy. Thanks, mate. We have to respect Amrin for pushing on what he doesn't agree with. Exactly. Could be worse. You could be a Celtic supporter. JB, why didn't you have a lift in your mansion? Jesus Christ, mate. I wish I had a mansion, buddy. It's a load of rubbish about the interim. We need a proper boss. I know we have to wait until the summer. But do you know the most frustrating thing about this whole thing? We don't have to wait till the summer. Like, I know there's this rhetoric out there, right? I get it. We don't. Why are we accepting? Because we're told, right? We are very as human beings, and obviously we're from here. We're very in tune to queue up in lines, right? The British love to queue up in lines, right? We queue up in lines. We do what we're told, and we believe in stuff, right? We're told we have to wait until the summer. So our automatic response is this: oh, okay, yeah, fine, you know. No. Why do we have to wait till the summer? I don't care, right? I don't care. And this is no disrespect. We get amazing fans on here. There's a guy called Paul, and Aston Villa, right? He is a fan of them, right? Aston Villa are doing fantastically well this season. This is no disrespect to Aston Villa. I don't care what anybody thinks about a club. I don't care if people think that we're crap and who's going to play for us, right? Take that out of the equation, right? I don't care how amazing season Aston Villa are having, and this is not an arrogant statement here. This is what I believe. This is what, as the biggest club, the second biggest club in the world, right? Which is factual. We might be crap, but we are being told that we can't get anybody until the summer. I don't care. Go to Aston Villa, go and get Emery. There is no excuse. I don't care if Villa are in the Champions League. I don't care if Villa are having the best season. And the reason why I'm talking about Villa, because this is a compliment to Aston Villa. This is a compliment to Emery. You know, Villa are doing fantastically well. And look, if Emery says no, that's fine. But I'm just talking about from a conceptual point, right? If this was a competent club, right, Wilcox was the director at Southampton for 9 months before they went down, and then we got him. No experience. Omar Barada was a COO. He wasn't a CEO. Very, very limited experience. And you've got these two fucking clowns running this club. Any competent football structure right now, and a club of our size and means, apparently, go and get Emery. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what it costs. Any competent good club wouldn't let anybody. And I said this. This is not about an arrogance. This is about if you are the biggest fish in the pond, right? And as much as I respect Aston Villa fans, I can't even explain to you how much of a compliment this is, by the way, right? I don't care if you are Emery. I don't care if you're Howe. If you are a big fish, you go and take what you want. And this is not me saying that this should happen. I do not agree with it. But I'm talking about the mindset of this club and the mindset of us. Why do we think because what we've been told we have to wait until the summer? No. The reason why we've got to wait is because these fucking idiots have no idea. We've got a CEO who has no experience. We've got a Wilcox who's a frustrated coach. Fuck off, you absolute idiot. And we're hiring a caretaker for a caretaker. And look, as much as Carrick, I'm sure he's a good guy. He's a caretaker for a championship side. I mean, like, well done to Carrick. But we do not have to wait. We don't have to wait until the summer. England, right? So Tuchel, go and get him. Fuck England. Like, and look, this is. It seems like a very arrogant and a very flippant thing to say. It's not. I'm trying to give you an example of what big clubs would do. Alonso is left at Madrid. If Ineos ambitious, they would look for him. If we would take the job no matter what. I watched TalkSport this morning. The caller on the show was talking shite, praised the boss and the board. The person is an idiot. This morning, I think, yeah, I saw that as well, my friend. Per Mertesacker is available. He's left Arsenal's academy today. Every club jumping on sack the manager bandwagon. United need quality fullbacks. Right, Dallo Shaw should be sold. Dorgu is mid. Only Managerial is a United level. Stalker fans here, don't forget to like, favourite and subscribe. Exactly, do it. Cost you nothing. What top manager would you go for? I'd go for Emery. Emery, Eddie Howe, Enrique. I'd go for those sorts of guys. Why is Sir Alex Ferguson deciding the managers? He's not. Look, there is a rhetoric. Ferguson has got no dog in that fight. Question is, why would a world-class player choose United over Arsenal or Liverpool? The reason that is important is because of who you want to be competing with on the pitch. Look, that is a good question. United still has the pull. Your information is wrong. Owners are a joke. Honestly, managers would be crazy to come here. Aston Villa have a better management and then of the background issues. No, I agreed. And look, when I say I would go and get Emery, right? This is not a smite on Aston Villa. It is a credit to Aston Villa. It's an absolute credit to Villa. It's just a credit to Villa. I want your coach. Why are you comparing Arsenal to Liverpool? Do you wish Edwards was still in control? David Gill, mate. We got Zlatan, Pogba, that European football. Still, there's Sir Alex and players. Glinios will never succeed. Would you want Ancelotti? Ancelotti's one of those weird ones for me. One of those strange ones. Would I want him? Possibly. Di Maria, yet when they were past their sell-by date. Tuchel won't join. I think you find he will. I think you find he absolutely will join. Would you take Maresca? Look, would I take Maresca? Probably. The only real issue for me is are these managers gonna get time? It's just going to take you through to the special room. Just going to take you to the magic, where the magic happens. Look, would I take a Maresca? I would do, yeah. But again, what the problem is here is planning, right? And are these managers going to get players? I think the problem for me is Maresca. He's a manager, right? And I heard somebody say this as well, and I think this is a good point, right? We're hiring a Carrick, right? And Jesus Christ, and when you've got like the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, City, they've all got experienced people in charge from top to bottom. They've got experienced people in charge. We have literally got idiots in charge. Dino Legend says it's just the board doing things that they say they need the best in class. Well, yeah, they really don't today. Amrin was never the problem. No, he was never the problem. I agree with you on that one. Emery wasn't good enough for Arsenal. Why is he good enough for United? He didn't have the board issues that look. I think Emery was the right choice at the wrong time. I don't think he was. And I do agree with you. I think Emery is a better manager than Arteta. Do people realise that Carrick is leaving Borough? He ain't going to be an interim until the end of the season. He'll be given the job full time after the shocking decision. Carrick's jobless, mate. Carrick doesn't have a job. Carrick is out of work. According to Sky JB, Ancelotti is the front runner. I would love it. I would. JB is taking us to the dungeons. Well, we don't need to see that, JB. Look, are you going to the shed for beers? No, I've got a special beer fridge for that. Yeah, I've got a special fridge for that. No, he says a sex dungeon. You wish. How you doing? Real Madrid got somebody. Carrick isn't leaving. He's been out. Borough. He's exactly. Typical's amazing. But yeah, look. It's just Arsenal says. So John Shelby is interested in the United job, and Joey Barton after. You're being cheeky today. You're being cheeky, mate. Look, we love it. So look, it's just a quick one to give you an update. Look, Fabrizio Romano has gone in it. I was going to do a show in it this afternoon. I've literally have had a text message today to tell me that it is, but I was just I was doing work. I was doing more important stuff than this. So look. I wanted to go with it. I'm not going to do some namby-pamby hour-long show on the fact that Carrick is here. Carrick is the save. Look, I fully respect people who want him. I get it. I will support him until the end of the season because look, none of this is his fault. He's not getting signings. So we need to put that to bed. If by some miraculous swing of fate that we are not going to get any signings. It's just not going to happen. Arsenal fan here wishes he was as big as club as United. That's why he's here, the closest he's ever get to a big club. Genuine question: why is Carrick the right choice? He would never be given a manager at any. But the reason why he is not the right choice. He is the only choice because as a club we are pathetic because we should be appointing a coach. we should be going at the reason why we've not planned it, the reason why this club is in disarray, the reason why that fucking Omar Barada, Wilcox don't have a clue, is because they weren't expecting to sack Amarin. This is an emergency parachute drop caretaker in. Carrick is not in work. I don't want a manager that's not in work. Like, I don't want a coach who is not in work. There's a reason why Carrick is not in work. Like, no disrespect to Carrick. There's a reason why Carrick is not in work. There's a reason why Ollie is not in work. There's a reason why these people are not in work. It's because they're not very good. And like Carrick, people need to separate out the player from the manager. Carrick was a phenomenal player. He's not it as a coach. Could he be? Yes, but we don't need a learner driver. We need best of the best. And I'm not just talking about the interim coach. And I mean, it's embarrassing that an interim, a caretaker for a caretaker. It is embarrassing. We are a banter club. I want best in class, and I'm not talking about a Wilcox who spent 9 months in a previous role at Southampton. They went down. We need somebody who's the best of the best. We need somebody who's been doing this for 10 years. We are United. We can't keep having our CEO from Omar Barada. He didn't even hold the post. He was a COO, just some little guy sat in a corner having a wank. Like, who are these people? And this is what Ineos do. They've hired clowns. I would clear the decks. If Sir Jim wants to get any piece of pride back, if Sir Jim wants to get any sort of sanity and respect back from this club, Wilcox needs to go. Omar Barada needs to go. Sack these fucking clowns and go and get experience. Go and get the people who are in work. I don't want the people who are out of work. I want the manager that you can't get. I want the manager who is in work. I want the coach. I want the CEO who is in work. I want the best of the best. And the reason why they're in work is because they are the best of the best. I don't want a Carrick who's been out of work, working for FIFA or wherever he's doing. Ollie. Do you know Ollie's job? Ollie's job right now is to basically go and watch a football match and write down a report to give to the FA or whatever it is. That is their job, is to sit there and watch players play and feed that back. That is their job. So you can have Carrick, you can have Ollie, and it is a Carrick. Here we go. And look, I will support it. But even Darren Fletcher last night after the game basically called these players out. So it's an absolute joke. Look, Ollie hit, not Ollie, fucking Carrick. Here we go. Fabrizio has, this club is going to spin it now. This club is going to spin it. Other channels are going to spin it as well. They will spin it. Oh, Ollie, Carrick's going to do this amazing job. Look, I hope Michael Carrick takes us into the Champions League. I would love it. I would love an ex-player to do that. But I don't see right now how an ex-caretaker manager who's come back as a caretaker, and we're supposed to be the second biggest club in the world, and we are acting like the dog and duck. We're acting like the dog and duck who needs a. I'm surprised we don't get a ringer. I'm surprised that Solskjaer doesn't find out one of his mates, brings him into the squad, and you've got to pretend to be Dave. Like, this is so amateur. I cannot even tell you. I cannot even tell you how amateur this is from the manager, from the players, from the Wilcox to Omar Barada. It is this appointment, and this here we go, is one of the most embarrassing. Here we goes, one of the most embarrassing appointments that I've seen for a long time. Just when you think it can't get any worse, you've got the shit show of Burnley or Brighton. Amorim gets sacked, and we're going to try and spin a positive on Michael Carrick. Welcome to United people. Welcome to this club. We're going to be we're so bad at everything we do. We're going to spin a here we go for Carrick. Welcome to this club. Learner drivers, run by cretins, run by a guy who's a frustrated manager. I can't. I just absolute shambles of the highest order, and embarrassment. So I'll get through the chats. Look, this was just a quick one. Scott says, I'd rather have John Bon Jovi than a bin dipper. He's in here with us because he's lonely with actual Arsenal fans. Bring back Ron Atkinson. Here we go. Nobody is off before me today. She's learning fast. Chelsea have already replaced their manager. Exactly. It's Monday, most stressful day of the week. The Ryanster says it's because they're not getting paid. They're getting paid not to work. Ineos have no plan and no idea. Ineos, it will be plastic sports. Arsenal fan, you hear you banter shameful. Exactly, you need some more banter. Ineos have no success in football. Imagine going into multiple live chats of other clubs. It's embarrassing. Monday's not fun. Not best in farce. That is quality. Yes, a great idea. We spent 30 million on another manager. At this point, I'm not even listening to JB. The chat is just getting to me. Cody says, would you take Alonso in the summer or the Scouts? No, I would take Alonso. I would do. Ancelotti or Enrique would be a good option. I'd rather they spin us some loan transfers. JB's just background noise for the chat. I am. You're right. No to Wally or Carrick. I know nobody out there, but they must be someone if only. Let's have a look. We weren't going to appoint someone permanent now, and you know it too. Yep. John says, Carrick taking us to 5th or even 4th, not a chance in hell these plays except for 3 or 4 are piss poor and we'll finish 10th. John, no, I've said this all season between 8th to 10th, and John, look, you're backing me up, buddy. Put Keane in there. Thanks, nobody. Keno is never coming back. Yeah, I know, right? Alonso just been sacked, so he's available. I would take Alonso. I would. Ancelotti has experience and demands respect. Now, Carrick's at the wheel. Do you think we can go for a title charge? Grace, I love it. Hell fucking no. JB says, I just feel so dejected at the moment. I hope when we got a new front three, but now I just feel empty and no hope. Look, mate, come on. Roy Keane wouldn't work. Get arrested for hurty words, and Keane would be in prison after. I've said that Roy Keane would walk into that room, punch him, and be sacked within 20 minutes. I'd be concerned to know why Madrid have let Alonso go. If cannot make it at Madrid, you won't make it here. Surely Madrid had a plan in place to let Alonso go to get a man in fast. Amorim. Can you imagine? Imagine Ruben Amorim, Madrid. Imagine that. So look, guys, just a quickish one today. Hopefully I should be back this evening or so, probably around about 10:30. Look, I wanted just to get it out there to let you guys know, look, Carrick is going to be a here we go. Romano's reported it. I've had a message about it as well. So yeah, it is a done deal. He's going to be announced, and watch out for the spin. So you think Ollie is the right choice? Who, by the way, didn't even coach. It's not Ollie. It's Carrick. So yeah, look, guys, thank you for watching just a really, really quick show. Look, thank you for supporting the channel. I will be back this evening. You guys are legends. Look, thank you for the support as always. I will be back this evening. Look, keep a watch out, keep a listen out for all the spin now. It's going to be a bunch of spin. Patron the King, hello my friend. It's going to be a bunch of spin. You're going to hear all the crap. But yeah, look, and don't forget, call them out. Wherever you see the shit, call them out. Call them a bunch of dickheads. So yeah, look, media spin in chat. You guys are legends. Dave the Red, thank you for being here. Nobody, thank you. Dino, Scott, everybody, Danny, guys, you're all legends. Look, I should be back this evening about 10:30ish. So look, have a good rest of your early evening. Go put the kids to bed. Go and have a cup of tea, coffee, a beer, wine, and I will be back tonight. So take care, guys, and I'll see you very, very soon.